Hello everyone. In this video, I will explain steady flow energy equation applied to nozzles and diffusers. That means we'll learn how steady flow energy equation is applied to nozzle and diffusers. First, we'll learn about nozzle, then we'll go to diffusers. First, let me tell something about nozzle. Nozzle is a device which is used to increase velocity of fluid by expense of pressure. Okay. Nozzle is a device which is used to increase velocity of fluid by expense of pressure. Similarly, diffuser is a device which is used to increase pressure of a fluid by expense of velocity of fluid. Okay, so first we'll go in detail of nozzle, then we'll go to the diffuser. So here, steady flow energy equation applied to nozzle. Steady flow energy equation applied to nozzle. So nozzle is a device. Nozzle is a device which is used to increase velocity of fluid by expense of pressure. Nozzle is a device which is used to increase velocity of fluid by expense of pressure of fluid. Or another definition, we can say that nozzle is a flow passage. Nozzle is a flow passage of varying cross-sectional area. Nozzle is a flow passage of varying cross-sectional area in which velocity of fluid increases in the direction of flow. That means nozzle is a device whose cross-sectional area will vary, and in the direction of flow, the velocity of fluid will increase. And one thing I want to highlight here, that the term that is varying cross-sectional area. Okay, we'll see what is that varying cross-sectional area at the end of this lecture. And here the diagram of a nozzle is shown here. This is a nozzle. Okay, and this is its inlet. Fluid is entering here and it is leaving here. Okay, and here the velocity is v1, here the velocity is v2, and it's shown that v2 is greater than v1, and here the pressure is p1 at the inlet, and at the exit pressure is p2. So p2 is less than p1. That means velocity is increasing, velocity will increase and pressure will decrease. Okay, so now we come to our thermodynamic analysis of this nozzle. Okay, so here this is a nozzle, this is its inlet, this is its exit. Inlet will be noted by I, exit will be denoted by the symbol E. So if I apply conservation of mass to this control volume, if I apply conservation of mass to this control volume, that is the rate at which mass will enter into this nozzle, the rate at which mass will enter into the nozzle, the same rate at which the mass will leave from this nozzle. Okay, as it is a steady flow device. So m dot I, that is the rate at which mass is entering into this nozzle, is equal to the rate at which mass is leaving from the nozzle. This is by the conservation of mass applied to this control volume. Now I will see, if I apply conservation of energy, if I apply conservation of energy, by applying conservation of energy to the control volume, what we will get, that is the rate at which energy will enter into the control volume, the same rate energy will leave from the control volume, as it is a steady flow device. So m dot I whole into hi plus vi square by 2 plus gzi plus rate of heat transfer, that is the energy entering into the control volume, is equal to the rate at which energy leaving from the control volume, that is equal to m dot E whole into He plus V square by 2 plus GZE plus W dot. And here these right side terms are the energy that is coming out from the control volume or from a nozzle. Now we'll apply some assumptions to get our result. So by assuming change in potential energy is negligible. Change in potential energy is negligible. That means, what is that? Suppose here our nozzle, this is our nozzle, this is its inlet, this is its exit. I am taking a datum line here. Okay. So this height will be your Zi, and this exit height is equal to Z. If the nozzle is horizontal position, if I am placing a nozzle in horizontal manner, then Zi is equal to Zd. So obviously potential energy change will negligible. Also, if you put the nozzle in vertical direction, if you put the nozzle in vertical direction also, or in vertical manner, so suppose this is the entering fluid, that is I, or inlet, this is exit E. Suppose I am taking a datum here. So suppose this is our ZI, this is our ZE. So nozzle, the length of nozzle is very small. The length of the nozzle is very small. So ZI will be approximately equal to ZE. We cannot make a nozzle of very long length. Okay. So ZI is equal to ZE, so that the potential energy change is neglected. Okay. Similarly, by assuming the nozzle is insulated, that means there is no heat transfer. There is no heat transfer from the boundary of the nozzle to the surrounding, or from the surrounding to nozzle. So that we'll get heat transfer rate is equal to 0. Okay. So what is the meaning here? See, the flow velocity of the fluid is very high, so that there will be no time for the heat transfer. What is the meaning of insulation here? What is the meaning of insulation here? That is as the velocity of flow of fluid is very high, so there is no time for the heat transfer. So Q dot is equal to how much? 0. Or we can say that the nozzle is insulated. Next is, there is no mechanism for work transfer. Here it is simply a passage only. So there is no mechanism which can produce or develop work. So by putting all three assumptions in this steady flow energy equation, what we have derived here, by putting all the assumptions what we written here, so we got this is our energy equation. Then what will happen? Neglect the potential energy first. So this is GZI and GZ will get cancelled. Okay. And as it is insulated, so Q dot is equal to 0. No work output. This is W dot is equal to 0. So what we'll left with? We'll left with M dot I whole into HI plus VI square by 2. HI plus VI square by 2 is equal to M dot E whole into HE plus VE square by 2. So as we know, M dot I is equal to M dot E. As we know, M dot I is equal to M dot E, as it is a steady flow device. So what we'll get here by putting M dot I is equal to M dot E, this M dot I and this M dot E, and this M dot E will be get cancelled. These two will get cancelled. So what we'll get? HI plus VI square by 2 is equal to HE plus VE square by 2. This is the equation. This is a steady flow energy equation by putting all the assumptions what we have written for the nozzle. As nozzle is used to increase velocity of fluid, as we are using nozzle to increase velocity of fluid, so VE, that is the exit velocity of fluid, is very greater than the inlet velocity of fluid. That means VE much greater than VI. So that VI square by 2 term, that is the kinetic energy of the fluid at the entry to the nozzle, can be neglected. That means by neglecting this term, by neglecting this VI square by 2, that is the kinetic energy of the fluid entering into the control volume or entering into the nozzle per unit mass, this can be neglected because VI is very small than V. Okay. So by putting all this assumption again here, so what we'll get here, that is equal to HI is equal to HE plus VE square by 2. If I rearrange the terms, what we'll get? VE is equal to square root of 2 whole into HI minus HE. Okay. If I rearrange the terms, what I am getting here, that is VE is equal to square root of 2 whole into HI minus HE. So what is HI and what is HE? HI is the enthalpy of fluid entering into the control volume. HE is the enthalpy of fluid leaving from the control volume. What is VE? VE is the velocity of fluid coming out from the nozzle. So V is the velocity of fluid coming out from the nozzle. HI is the enthalpy of fluid entering into the nozzle. HE is the enthalpy of fluid coming out from the nozzle. And one thing I want to highlight here, what major people make wrong, that Always remember that enthalpy will be given in the terms of if you are putting the unit of enthalpy in joule per kg, then you will get the unit of velocity in meter per second. Mostly in the question they give the unit of enthalpy is kilojoule per kg, and student directly put enthalpy here kilojoule per kg and get the wrong answer. So be careful that you will get the unit of velocity in meter per second when you are using the unit of enthalpy, that is per kilojoule per kg. If you are putting unit joule per kg, then you will get only unit in meter per second. Be aware of the unit in the total steady flow energy equation chapter. Next, I have told you that one thing here in this definition: nozzle is a flow passage of varying cross sectional area. Nozzle, I have told here that nozzle is a flow passage of varying cross-sectional area. What is that varying cross-sectional area? Varying cross-sectional area means the cross-sectional area may increase, may decrease. Varying cross-sectional area means the area of the nozzle in the flow direction may increase, may decrease. We will see that what is that varying cross-sectional area. Here, two things are here. If it is a subsonic flow, if the flow is a subsonic flow, the shape of the nozzle in the flow direction will be one type. If it is a supersonic flow, then the shape of the nozzle in the flow direction will be something different. If it is a subsonic flow or Mach number less than 1, then the shape of the nozzle in the direction of flow will be one type. If it is a supersonic flow, Mach number greater than 1, then the shape of the nozzle in the flow direction will be something different. So see here, for Mach number less than 1, this types of flow is called as subsonic flow. For subsonic flow, the flow area decreases in the direction of flow. Okay, if the Mach number is less than 1 or it is subsonic flow, then the flow area decreases in the direction of flow. That means you will get the shape of the nozzle like this. In this direction, you see the area is decreasing. This is the inlet here, and this is the exit here. The cross-sectional area is decreasing, or the flow area is decreasing in the direction of flow. If the flow is a supersonic flow, or Mach number greater than 1, or supersonic flow, then the flow area will increase. in the direction of flow. If we are designing a nozzle for supersonic flow, then the flow area in the direction of flow should increase. So for supersonic flow, the flow area increases in the direction of flow, and here you will see this is for the Mach number greater than 1. This is the inlet here, this is the exit here, and the flow area is gradually increasing. So what happens if you are designing a nozzle for a subsonic flow, then the flow area should decrease in the direction of flow. If you are designing a nozzle for supersonic flow, the area should increase in the direction of flow. Be clear. Don't think that nozzle means area will always decrease in the direction of flow. It depends upon whether it is a subsonic flow or whether it is a supersonic flow. For subsonic flow, flow area will decrease in the direction of flow, or if Mach number less than 1, then the nozzle area will decrease in the direction of flow. If it is supersonic flow, then the flow area will increase in the direction of flow. So this is all about the nozzle. Okay, we studied what is a nozzle, what is the use of steady flow energy equation here to find out the velocity of the fluid coming out from the nozzle, and what is the shape of the nozzle depending upon the Mach number. Okay, next we'll go to diffusers. Now come here, diffuser. Steady flow energy equation applied to diffuser. So diffuser is a device which is used to increase pressure of fluid by expense of velocity of flow. It is a reverse of nozzle. What happens in the diffuser? Diffuser is a device which is used to increase pressure of fluid by the expense of velocity of flow. That means when the fluid will flow through a diffuser, at the exit you will get high pressure and velocity will decrease. So here it is shown here, figure is shown here. It is a diffuser, and see the velocity is increasing. Suppose this is its inlet, this is its exit, here the velocity v1, here the velocity v2, here the pressure p1, here the pressure p2. So what happens in the case of diffuser? Pressure will increase and velocity will decrease. It is opposite case of nozzle. It is opposite case of nozzle. Nozzle and diffuser performs opposite task. Nozzle and diffuser performs opposite task. In nozzle, velocity increases in the direction of flow. In diffuser, pressure increases in the direction of flow. Okay. So here I have taken a nozzle diffuser here. Okay. This is the inlet. This is the exit. Inlet will be I, exit will be E. By applying conservation of mass to this control volume, what will get? M dot I is equal to M dot E. That means the rate at which mass is entering here, at the same rate mass will leave from the control volume. That means the rate at which fluid is entering into the control volume will be the rate at which it is leaving. Again, by applying conservation of energy, to this control volume, what I can get? That is a rate at which energy will enter into the control volume is equal to the rate at which energy will leave from the control volume. That is equal to m dot I whole into hi plus vi square by 2 plus gzi plus q dot is equal to m dot E whole into he plus v square by 2 plus gze plus w. This hi is the enthalpy of fluid entering into the control volume. This vi square by 2 is the kinetic energy of fluid entering into the control volume. This gzi is the potential energy of fluid entering into the control volume. If I multiply with the mass flow rate, you will get the total energy. Plus this is the rate of heat transfer. Similarly, in the exit side, he is the enthalpy of fluid leaving from the control volume. V square by 2 is the kinetic energy of the fluid leaving from the control volume. GZD is the potential energy of the fluid coming out from the control volume. If you multiply with the mass flow rate, that is m dot E, you will get the total energy coming out from the control volume by the fluid stream. And this W dot is the work transfer. Okay. Now we'll put some assumptions to get our desired result. What are the assumptions there? First is there is no change in potential energy. What we have done in the case of nozzle, the same thing will happen here. And we are assuming that the diffuser is insulated. First thing, we have assumed that there is no change in potential energy. Second, we have assumed that there is no heat transfer, so it is insulated. And there is no mechanism in diffuser by which you can extract work. So W dot is equal to 0. If you put all these three assumptions, what will get? That means we are neglecting potential energy. That means gzi and gzd will neglected. No heat transfer, q dot neglected. No work transfer, w neglected. Okay, so if you put all the assumptions, what will get? That is equal to hi plus vi square by 2 is equal to he plus ve square by 2. Okay, if you put all these assumptions, what will get? hi plus vi square by 2 is equal to he plus ve square by 2. Okay, and here one thing I want to highlight here, that is rate of heat transfer is very small compared to kinetic energy and enthalpy, so that we are neglecting this heat transfer. Okay, so what is the meaning of insulation here? That means the heat transfer associated in the case of a diffuser is very small compared to the change in kinetic energy and enthalpy. We have three terms here. One is your enthalpy. Okay, second one is your kinetic energy, and third one is your potential energy. Then this one is your heat transfer. But what happens is the rate of heat transfer, that is q dot, is very small compared to the enthalpy and kinetic energy. The rate of heat transfer is very small compared to enthalpy change and kinetic energy change, so that we are neglecting the rate of heat transfer here. Okay, so this is also loosely called as it is insulated. Now we'll see what is the shape of the nozzle depending upon whether it is a subsonic flow or supersonic flow. So here, if the flow is subsonic or Mach number less than 1, then you will see that the flow area of the diffuser will increase along the direction of flow. That means if the flow is a subsonic flow or Mach number less than 1, the flow area of the diffuser will increase in the direction of flow. Okay. And if it is a supersonic flow, or Mach number greater than 1, then what will happen? Along the direction of flow, the flow area will decrease. If the flow is a supersonic flow, then what will happen? The flow area along the direction of flow will decrease. And see here, the area is gradually decreasing. Okay. So if the flow is a subsonic flow, then for a diffuser, flow area will increase along the direction of flow. What is shown here? Okay. If the flow is a supersonic flow, or Mach number greater than 1, then the flow area will decrease along the direction of flow. These are the opposite cases of nozzle. In the case of nozzle, if it is a supersonic flow, then the area was increasing, but in the case of diffuser, if the flow is a supersonic, it will decrease. In the case of nozzle, if the Mach number is less than 1 or it is a subsonic flow, then area is decreasing, but in the case of diffuser it is increasing. Okay, so I will summarize here. If Mach number less than 1, then for nozzle area will decrease, for the diffuser area will increase. Next, if the Mach number greater than 1 or supersonic flow, then for nozzle area will increase, and for the diffuser area will decrease. These are opposite cases. See. Okay. So what happens in the case of nozzle and diffuser by depending upon the Mach number you have already seen. So this is all about nozzles and diffusers. Thank you for your attention.